Part 2 of GWS 111's Focus on the Value of Solitude. From Alec Young, Georgia. Spending time alone not only gives me time to reflect, which allows me to know myself better, but it helps me engage more fully in social situations. When I'm playing basketball alone, I see areas in which I need to improve without worrying about what someone else sees or thinks of me. When I'm alone, I tend to concentrate on my weaknesses. If I'm competing at all, I'm competing with myself. Then, when I'm playing basketball in a group, I need to show off my best stuff so that I will be picked for the next 3-on-3 game. I believe that playing with others is just as important. I see new weaknesses that I need to work on next time I'm doing drills by myself. I'm challenged by new styles of play. I'm surprised by new moves and ideas. But all of this is even more fun because I have already taken the time alone to observe my game and work on it so that I am a better player. This is not only true with basketball. By being alone and thinking through a subject or problem or project, I form a more honest opinion or plan than I might in a group. When I'm alone, I'm not intimidated by other ideas. However, it is also important to exchange ideas, to hear different perspectives and see different ways of looking at things. But I'm a more articulate participant if I've had the time to think the topic through on my own. When I'm starting a new pottery project, I need time alone to design, plan, measure, and make any necessary stencils to work out the problems of construction. Then, when I'm in the studio constructing the piece, I like to have other people around. I like to hear their suggestions and ideas. I like to see what they're making. If someone comments on my work, it might send me in a completely different direction. Both the time alone and the time with others are important to my creativity and output. The bottom line is, you need balance. I feel that in our society, especially for people my age who are in school and are herded from one activity or classroom to another, it's much more difficult to find solitude than it is to find time with other people. To achieve and maintain a balance in that situation, you probably have to make more of a conscious effort to seek out time to be alone. Because I am homeschooled and have more control of my time, I feel it's easier to take that time for myself whenever I feel I need it. Solitude is a true companion. From Clare Murphy, Pennsylvania. I never found the companion that was so companionable as solitude, wrote Henry David Thoreau. I may be a gregarious person, but I, like Thoreau, have never found a companion better than solitude. Being alone allows me to see who I am without having to impress anyone else. It allows me to lose myself in books and papers without having to worry about entertaining anyone else. It allows me to think. I'm the youngest in a family of 3 children, and I watched as my brother and sister, around the age of 13, began working in their own separate rooms instead of in the living room or kitchen. They'd turn on their classical music and read or write alone. When they needed help, they'd descend from their studies to ask Mom for assistance. I didn't think I would ever enjoy working alone in my room, but lo and behold, around the magic age of 13, I also ascended the stairs to work in my room. We needed, and I still need, our own space in which to concentrate and our own worlds to escape into. This summer for 5 weeks I stayed in a college dorm as part of a summer program with a roommate. Although we got along very well, I realized by the end of the second week that I needed that time spent alone in my own room. Whether I was inside my dorm room or outside of it, I was constantly around people. So, to get the time alone that I needed, I would stay in my room on Saturdays when my roommate was at the beach and write or read. Solitude seems to re-energize me, allows me to enjoy my time with people more. So, I mostly study when I'm alone, or more precisely, I seek solitude to study. This means that I spend a good percentage of each day either in my room or at the local university library with only my books, computer, or paper. I have a hard time concentrating on a book or piece I'm writing when there is another person in the room, even if he or she is also studying. A person constantly brings me back to reality when I want to be in medieval England or concentrated on taking the derivative of a function. I don't feel like I'm reaching my full potential for absorbing knowledge unless I'm alone. Of course, there are other ways to learn, such as discussions and conversations, which are also a vital part of my life, and I definitely can't do those things alone. Solitude often has unpleasant connotations of loneliness and abandonment, but I never associate these things with being alone because, through my mind, I'm connected indirectly to the human world. Solitude is a true companion. When I'm physically in solitude, my mind revisits the lives of historical people, what my math professor said about integrals, how Dickens constructs his scenes, and what the point of life is. I sometimes lose that inside voice when I have to split my mind between itself and the outside world. I need to associate with people, but I also need a balance of time alone. A variety, being in a large group of people, being with just one friend, and being by myself, assures me that my life won't become, on one extreme, superficial, or, on another, provincial. And solitude itself keeps me rooted in reality, allows me to reassess where I am in life and where my next step is.